many people out there care about your Google rankings? I expect everyone listening right now or everyone watching has their hand up. But what are you actually doing in order to get your Google rankings higher? Right? How are you implementing SEO, search engine optimization strategies? In today's episode, we're going to be breaking down some of the common SEO mistakes that salons and businesses should avoid in order to ensure that you have a thriving online presence and rocket up those Google rankings. Welcome to the Salon Scoop, a podcast by Salon S.O.S. I'm your host, Scott Moon, the founder of Salon S.O.S., and I'm obsessed with helping salon professionals live their best life. In this show, we shop talk all things salon to bring you real-life stories, debates, entertainment, and inspiration to help you find happiness and success in this beautiful industry. If you work in the salon industry in any capacity, this podcast is open to you. So set down your scissors or rinse out that toner and let's get into it. Hey everyone, thanks for joining us today for another episode of the Salon Scoop. Today we're going to get the scoop on SEO mistakes that salons should be avoiding, and ultimately helping share with you some SEO best practices that are going to allow you to really climb up the Google rankings. I can attest, when I started this company 8 years ago, almost zero salons were focused on Google at the time. But I'm happy to say that over the course of the past 5 years, bit by bit, I'm definitely seeing more and more salons that are, they've become aware that Google is important. They've become aware of the impact on their business by being present in those Google search results, getting up to the top page, getting into the top 1, 2, 3 positions. It has such a powerful impact on your business. So a lot of salons have either kind of paid someone somewhere to, do some SEO, or they have gotten some information and feel like they're doing some SEO. But there's a lot of mistakes happening out there and things that are not being focused on properly, and a lot of wasted money. I see this a lot. Salons tell me, there's, spending some $400 or $500 a month for someone that's helping with their Google. But the salon owner cannot tell me one single thing about what's actually happening. They just know that they're paying $400 or $500 a month and someone is taking care of it for them, but they don't know what's happening. They're not really getting any reports. The reports that they see are pretty lame. I think that we need to take a little bit more ownership over this. Myself, I'm a business owner as well. I'm not going to be spending that kind of money without knowing what's actually happening. Sarah, you're a salon owner yourself. How do you feel about investments that you're making for your business? I mean, we're not just talking about SEO here, but would you agree? Like, you need to be aware as a salon owner, like what you're actually investing into. Otherwise, it's a huge blind spot.
Oh yeah, for sure, right? It's kind of one of those things. It's like it might not be in your zone of genius, but if you can't monitor it and kind of track the important metrics, then it's like, again, what are you throwing your money at, right? So I feel like having a baseline awareness, and that's why I feel like, again, these kind of podcasts and like the blogs we put out, I feel like they're put in very kind of layman's terms for, salon owners and salon professionals that don't understand this type of thing, just to give you a little bit of a baseline knowledge so that you can advocate for yourself and your business and know that your investment is, you're having some return on it.
Yeah, it's so critical. So in today's episode, we really want to help you understand some of the key mistakes that salons are making in the SEO world today with everything that's surrounding Google, and give you the right advice to kind of put you on the right track. So, Sarah, let's just delve in here. We've got several different categories and topics we want to share. Let's talk about one of the key things that is really critical in today that salons need to avoid in terms of mistakes for SEO.
Yeah, a major mistake that I see a lot of, not even just salons, but just like small businesses in general making in terms of SEO is overlooking mobile optimization. So I think when we talk about SEO, people just naturally think of like these keywords and phrases that you have to put in, but it's search engine optimization, right? And Google favors websites that are completely optimized for every form of search, right? So majority of people are making these Google searches on their phones, but it's shocking at how many times you'll go to look something up on your phone and the website is just not optimized for mobile. So whether that be it's super slow and laggy, or if the graphics and the text and stuff like that just isn't being presented in a way that's like, aesthetically pleasing or easily navigatable or whatever it is. So if you have somebody that's doing your website, that should be something that is goes along with the website design. But I would say it's super important to kind of look at these things, look at your website, look at your social media, everything like that, and try to kind of come at it with a fresh set of eyes and an unbiased point of view. So go through your website in particular and make sure that everything is easy to navigate and completely optimized for mobile. So that's a major thing that I think is overlooked quite often. So yeah, that would be my recommendation, is get some people in there that can kind of give you some like good constructive feedback and let you know if it is easy to navigate and easy to find everything on the mobile format.
Yeah, I actually just take that for granted because as soon as we started this company and building websites for salons and spas, that's just a given. Like we make sure that all of the websites are optimized for all devices, especially mobile. The latest statistic that I've seen is that 57% of searches are happening on mobile devices. You'll kind of probably hear, different numbers depending on which study and whatever it was, but it's definitely more than half, and it's continuing to rise year after year after year. So it's an absolute must. All right, the second mistake that so often happens that I see that I want to address is salons who are not actually focusing on choosing the right keywords to work with. Keywords is the number one thing when it comes to SEO. You have to be focusing on specific words that you want to show up, number one, when someone types in the Google search, hair salon, your city or your neighborhood, your town. But it might not always be your hair salon, your city. The actual proper keywords that people are using the most can vary dramatically from region to region, city to city. Are there more searches for hair color or something, or hair stylist, or hairdresser, or hairstyle, or all the different services? You need to properly assess and research what are the right keywords that have the highest search volume. Choose between no more than 4 to 6 of them as the strategy that you're going to be focused on, and then go forward with your SEO strategy based on that. And so many businesses, not just salons, so many businesses out there either ignore this step, or they just pick a couple of words out of the top of their head and say, okay, these are the ones that we're going to focus on, just because they think in their head that's the right thing. And you have to start by researching the right keywords in order to have any success at all that's going to have a measurable impact on your business.
Yeah, for sure. And I feel like that segues kind of into my next mistake to avoid, is ignoring local SEO strategies. So like you said, Scott, I feel like a lot of people, just because again, this is so outside of most of our zone of genius as salon owners. Like we didn't open a salon because we love, the back end digital marketing things, right? So it's like oftentimes it's like, okay, SEO keywords, you'll grab a handful of them and stuff like that. But if you're just incorporating like hair salon as an SEO, it's like, so you're competing with every single hair salon in the world for these Google rankings, right? So it's kind of one of those things you want to like have a little bit more of a focused in strategy when it comes to, like, I'll use my location as an example for Saskatoon. So instead of even just putting, like, again, hair salon or hairstylist Saskatoon, you can kind of narrow in more and even kind of break it down in areas. So like a big service that we provide a lot of is like blonding services. So maybe it's blonding services downtown Saskatoon, or hair extensions, Broadway, Saskatoon, YXC, whatever it is. So I find that a lot of people kind of neglect getting, like, diving super deep into those local strategies and kind of go more broad. And again, it's kind of like, I always compare these SEO keywords to like hashtags on social media, right? If somebody is looking, and again, it depends what your goal is with it, right? If you're just wanting to get a bunch of likes, or if you just want to get a bunch of people on your website, then maybe you are more using these like broad terms. But if you want this to convert into actually like clients in your salon, then you want to narrow it down. So instead of just, blonde, we want to do blonde specialist Saskatoon, right? So it's just getting a little bit more like narrowing down on those local keywords, and not even just in your space, but maybe even in the specific area that you're in your community, right? So just being a little bit more strategic. And again, I feel like it really does come back to trying to figure out what your goal with SEO is. If it's that you're wanting to sell a lot of products on your e-commerce store, then maybe we are going a little bit more broad. But if it is trying to convert these website visitors into actual salon clients, then you absolutely need to be concentrating on this locally strategized SEO keyword phrase list for yourself.
And most people want butts in chairs.
Exactly.
That's what brings. That's what pays the bills. That's what allows everyone to have some sleep at night and feeling like they can provide, for themselves, for their families. So butts in chairs, local SEO, very, very critical. All right, next common mistake that needs to be avoided is keyword stuffing, or having irrelevant content. So many times, if a business has taken the time and effort to come up with, the various keywords that they want to focus on, they end up using them and sort of sticking out. So keyword stuffing means using them too much, right? Overly incorporating them into any piece of content that you can, to just have it written as many times as possible. This is actually a big mistake, because Google is pretty darn smart, believe it or not. And they can identify that it's actually not a relevant piece of content, and that you're literally just putting keywords for the sake of putting keywords. You always have to have valuable content, valuable information that flows naturally, that makes sense in a sentence, in a paragraph. You just want to be really intelligent about how and where you incorporate those keywords so that it flows as part of the regular content. But it's a big mistake to be trying too hard to stuff your content everywhere. And that's actually going to lead into the next topic that you're going to focus on, Sarah, because it's an area where you can have more space to incorporate keywords, right?
For sure. So another thing, and we've been kind of focusing on this a lot lately, is having a blog for your salon. So it's a big mistake that I think a lot of salon owners don't focus on, because it's just like, oh, it's just another form of content I have to put out. But it is like the perfect opportunity to kind of sneak a lot of these keywords and key phrases in organically without having that stuffing, right? And with the stuffing, it's so funny. I feel like we've all seen this, where it's like, you see a hair post or something like that, and it's like, the blonde specialist of Saskatoon located on Broadway and this and this. And it's just like so many words, and it doesn't feel organic. It doesn't feel like how it would be spoken, right? So in long form content, you can kind of sneak a lot of those in there without it sounding so in your face and stuffing, right? So we cover this in another podcast. So if you don't have a blog yet, you definitely need to check out this podcast, because it kind of gives you the ins and outs of how to do that properly. But yeah, that's a major mistake that I think a lot of salon owners are making, is neglecting that aspect of it, is like with the blog kind of thing, because it's the perfect opportunity to incorporate a lot of those keywords and phrases in without it seeming like it's jamming them down your throat. So
Totally. All right. Next mistake that often we see is salons that are neglecting the technical aspects of SEO. So anyone out there who has designed their own website, unless you've done research and know some stuff about SEO, you've most likely completely ignored the technical side of SEO because you're not even aware of it, right? And that's normal. But if we're not aware of something, you don't know what you don't know. So we're going to share that with you. If you've had someone, but it's a family friend or a client who knew somebody, just kind of like a guy who knew a guy or a girl, and they've built your website, unless they have some SEO expertise, they've probably also ignored the technical components of SEO. These are things that happen in the back end of your website to help improve its visibility and improve your score within the Google algorithm. And these things relate to structures of URLs, title tags, meta descriptions, H1 and H2 tags. I know I'm saying a bunch of technical jargon. I'm not here to explain that to you today, but if these things you've never heard of these terms before, it's probably because they haven't been focused on your website. Do you have alt tags and alt descriptions for the images on your site? Do you have a site map? Do you test your actual site speed? All these things are technical components that have a pretty strong influence on your Google rankings. They need to be looked at. It's a mistake to be ignoring them. If you're not sure and you're curious about this, you feel like maybe you should be doing better, we offer a free SEO audit you can always look at if interested. You can simply go to our website, www.salonsos.ca/SEO. And there'll be a pop-up there that allows you to fill out a form to get a free SEO audit for your business if you're interested in seeing a quick snapshot of what some of the problems might be today.
Yeah, for sure. The final thing that I kind of want to touch on is overlooking social media integration. And we have beat this point to death with the posting with purpose, right? Just don't post for the sake of posting. So again, a big thing like how you can integrate, your SEO strategy into your social media is you want to be including calls to action where it actually pushes people to your website. Because again, social media is important, but it's not necessarily going to boost you to the top of Google rankings, right? And that's what we're looking for here. So you're wanting to, in as many, as often as you can, you want to be pushing people back to your website. So whether that be to go read a blog or go shop a product that you just posted about, or to book their next appointment that they have to go to your online booking that is linked through your salon, right? We want as many opportunities as possible for people to be putting eyes and time in your website, right? So again, just it's a really important thing when you're making your social media posts, anytime that you can, again, organically without it seeming too salesy or too pushy and stuff like that, but organically throwing out a call to action where they do end up on your website at some point. So just a really important thing to keep in mind while you're, game planning your social media and stuff like that is tying it back to your website as often as possible.
Totally. Sarah, I have a quick question for you.
Yeah.
Do you feel that running your salon business today is easier or harder than it was, say, 4, 6, 7 years ago?
Don't even get me started. I've had this conversation with so many of even my newer stylists that come up. It is a totally different landscape than it was when we first opened in 2014. So I've been doing aesthetics since 2011. And I mean, Instagram was kind of just a thing at that point. So you just really needed to concentrate on, honing in on your craft and keeping up with education that way. And now it's like you have to be a marketing major, a website designer, a SEO specialist, all of these different things. So there's pros and cons to it, but I would say today it is substantially more difficult because there are so many more roles and things that you need to do. And again, you could be the best hairstylist, best esthetician out there. And if your online presence is shit, it puts you at a major, you're just not going to be building the way that somebody who is excellent on social media and online is, right? So again, pros and cons. I have a love-hate relationship, but I look at my 20-year-olds coming out of school that are starting off, and they are competing in a totally different landscape. Like, I'm like, I built my entire clientele basically just on word of mouth. I didn't post very often. I didn't have a website when we first opened, all of these different things. So I really feel for, again, both like the veterans in the industry that now all of a sudden are having to shift and learn all of these new things. And I equally feel for kind of the newbies coming in, although they do have probably a bit of a competitive edge because this is all they know, right? They grew up with social media and websites and the internet and all of these different things, right? So long story short, no, it's absolutely harder now today than it would have been 10, 15, 20 years ago.
Yeah, and I haven't heard from a single, salon owner, distributor who doesn't share that it's just feels harder and harder to run a successful salon business. Not just because of the technology thing. Retail is becoming harder and harder. Finding staff is becoming harder and harder. So just running the business as a whole is becoming harder and harder. And we could say at least there are some technology tools that are out there that can actually help make it easier, even though there's more of them. It feels complicated because like now there's so many more things, but somebody can grow their book as a stylist, as a makeup artist. They can grow their book faster today because of some of these technology tools. So those are things that are good. But as a whole, running a salon is a lot harder. Running a small business is a lot harder. So, I say that to be like, you need to sort of maximize the tools that are available to you. And today's episode has all been about avoiding some mistakes, right? And Google has always been and will always continue to be, for the foreseeable future at least, a really important tool to help you drive your business. So you got to avoid these mistakes. We hope that you picked up some key insights out of the episode today. Again, head to our website if you want a free SEO audit. We're here as your digital partner, digital support. If you have any questions along the way, please, please, please don't hesitate to reach out. A big mistake that small business owners make is they don't ask for help. They think they can do it all themselves. They don't ask for help. It's not a shame. It's, to ask somebody for help. It's not a shame to say, I don't know and I want to ask. It doesn't mean that you have to pay all sorts of money to people to do stuff for you, but just ask the questions. Right? People want to help. People want to support. And that's how we feel. Sarah, it sounded like you wanted to say something there.
I just loved that you kind of touched on that, because I know it's something we've talked about a lot with like salon owners, experiencing burnout at faster rates than they ever had. And as much as it is important to, again, know every area of your business and have like, again, that baseline knowledge of how to run it, I do think it's also super important to understand and take advantage of these resources that are out there. And S.O.S, I mean, I'm not even coming from a biased place working here necessarily, but I'm like, there are so many really affordable and simple and easy to use and easy to access services that you offer that, like you said, you're not paying thousands of dollars and not seeing any type of, return on that investment and stuff like that. But I do think it's super important for, again, salon owners in particular, just to understand that it is a completely different landscape than it was even 10 years ago. And you are expected to play so many different roles, from HR to marketing to bookkeeper and all of these things, and then also still be maintaining an excellent experience and service, right? So I would say, if I can give any type of advice to salon owners, is it's like, if digital marketing is not your thing, there are so many resources out there that are reasonably priced, and it's going to be such an investment, even just to, it's such a good investment in your own mental health, right? So instead of having to try and take all of this on, just understanding, and like you said, there's absolutely no shame in being like, I'm not an accountant, I'm not a digital marketer, I'm not any of these things. So kind of just taking advantage of these services and making sure that you're not trying to take on more than you can handle, right? Because then it all starts to suffer, right? So kind of hone in on your zone of genius, have a basic knowledge of the rest of it and stuff like that, and then hire out the people that know what they're doing for these types of things that's not keeping you up at night, right?
Yeah. But again, at the very least, just reach out and ask. There's so many resources, so many people that are happy to help, are happy to give advice, are happy to provide insights. And that's the least that we should all do for ourselves, right? It's not to try to just take the burden of everything on our own. And this is not just in our businesses. I'm sure people can relate in all aspects of life that we just have the tendency to do this. We all try to be, superheroes, and it's very valiant, but we're always better when we have people around us that we support them and they support us, and we can all lift each other higher. So anyhow, that's the gist of our message for today. Hope you guys learned something, and don't hesitate to reach out if you have any questions at all. Go out there and be great today. Thank you so much for listening to the Salon Scoop podcast. This show is produced by Salon S.O.S, a digital marketing agency by industry professionals for industry professionals. If you want simple and affordable solutions for any of your salon marketing needs, such as websites, client loyalty, Google search rankings, social media, or more, come visit us at salonsos.ca or on Instagram at salon.s.o.s. If you want to hear more episodes like this and help us continue to bring the industry great content, it would mean so much to us if you would support us in one of the following ways. Either share this episode with one other industry professional, and rate the show on Spotify, or write us a quick review on Apple Music. We want to hear your feedback. If you have follow-up questions or ideas for future episodes, please reach out. DM us on Instagram at salonus.s.o.s, or hit us up on our website again at salonsos.ca. Again, thanks so much for listening. Now go get your hustle on, keep smiling, and we'll catch you on our next episode.